Good morning all. Guys, in the today's session, I am with one more interesting topic of DBMS. Guys, in the previous session, we discussed about how to construct a ER model. In the same, with respect to that, we have solved almost four different ER models we have constructed, right? So, there we have seen that how to convert a given requirement scenario which is there in an English like statement, how to represent it into a pictorial representation, especially by using the ER model standard notation symbols, right? So that we have seen. Guys, and we have constructed 4 ER models, that all we have done, and we learned how to make use of the different ER model notations, especially in converting a given requirement scenario into an ER model, right? So guys, in the today's session, I am with an interesting topic called ER to relational mapping. Guys, in the today's session, we'll try to convert that constructed ER diagram into a relational database, right? Conceptual schema, how to do, right? How to achieve it, that we'll discuss it. So guys, there is one standard algorithm, especially to convert a given ER model, the given scenario is converted into ER model now, ER diagram. Now we are converting this ER diagram into what? A relational model, because directly the diagram is what we have seen, so that diagram, in the diagram we cannot store anything, but it is just a pictorial representation of a given requirement scenario, that's it. Now to store any data, what is required is we want one relational tables, right? Relational relations we want, right? So tables we want, we called by name, we have seen in the SQL, right? SQL tables we want. To do that, we are having one standard steps, or we can say standard procedures we are having. So based on that standard procedure or a rule, we can easily convert an ER diagram, constructed ER model, into a relational database, guys, right? Into a conceptual, high level conceptual relational model possible. So let me go with considering one simple scenario where it almost contains all ER notations of any ER model, right? So, and how to convert, because once if any diagram, if we considered, if our example, if it consists of almost all notation, then definitely we can come across with how to make use of all procedures, all rules, especially what we are having in an algorithm, right? Especially to convert a given or constructed ER diagram into a relational model. And one more interesting thing we come to know that, look at this one, guys, the beauty of this scenario is almost we are having all standard notations which are specified in the ER model, right? We are having, look at this one, strong entity types, sorry I missed one thing, it's a weak entity type, right? We are having a strong entity types, we are having a weak entity types, we are having key attributes, composite attribute, multi-valued attribute, then attribute which is connected to a relationship type, and we are having a different participation constraint like total and as well as the partial, right? And even we are having a different kinds of cardinality, all four types of cardinality as what we come across usually in an ER model are all present in this scenario. Look at this one, guys, one-to-one employee manages. Look at this, one more scenario. Employee manages department. One employee manages one department, but all department having a manager. But all employees are not managers. Look at this one. We are having a one-to-one cardinality, one-to-many, many-to-one, many-to-many, right? Almost all cardinalities here we are having, right? And a weak entity type, that also we are having with total participation, and identifying relationship type. This is one more beautiful thing, right? So then especially which is used with the weak entity type, right, along with the owner entity type, or we can call by name a strong entity type, right? So now the question is how to convert, because with these diagrams we cannot store anything, right? The only thing is when we convert this diagram into a table format, right, that means a relational database where it contains a plenty of tables, right? So then only we can able to store some data, right? That only to be actually used, right? Especially, right, in construct, especially in the database in the DBMS, that only we can do. Now guys, this is actually the database, this is what actually we want. Now guys, how to convert this diagram into a relational model? So for that, we are having one scenario, what this algorithm contains. I said it's a 7-step algorithm, the more popular algorithm, especially in ER2 relational mapping. Let me go with step by step. What are those 7 steps? And based on each step, we'll pick a step and we'll look at the diagram, and is there any dependent, because dependent is what? A weak entity type. For that we are having a different step, but the to adjust the space, let me write it here. Next one, we are having one more for project. Huh. Now we want to record the attributes where it describes means each entity type, strong entity type or a regular entity type as what we have identified, for that entity, for that relations, for those relations we have to identify the attributes. How to identify? It is very simple, guys. How? So employee is an entity type. Now this strong entity type becomes what? A relation here, right? So then the attributes which are connected to this employee entity type, those properties or those attributes also present in the relation as what we have created now in the relational model. This is a ER diagram and this one is a relational model, right? Now we are mapping, right? Now we are in the first step. What is that? Mapping of strong or a regular entity type. And we have created new relation. Now we are identifying the attributes which are present in each of the relation or in this entity type that we are recording again it in a relational model, right? In the relations, that's it, in the relation. Employee having what? Employee ID, employee name, phone number, those things. Let me record employee ID, then employee name. Yes, we have recorded these two, but definitely we are having a question, sir, employee ID is a key attribute, then what to do? There we have underlined. Here also the notation used is you underline this key attribute. It's an indication that it's a key attribute in that relation. That's it. Based on this attribute, we are uniquely identifying the entities of that relation, right? That's it. Let me move on to our next one. Next we are having what, guys? We are having the address. Address is of what kind? Address is of a composite attribute because it's having plenty of simple attributes in it. What all, guys? One is house number, pin code, state, district. These are the simple components of this composite attribute address. Then how to map? To represent a composite attribute, guys, in a relation, have a separate, that means for each of the simple attribute, simple component to be recorded as a separate attribute in a relation, in a constructed relation. That's it. So what are the attributes which are connected to this address, guys? House number, pin code, state, district. Let me record it as a separate attribute here. What all? House number, then city, do you have a city? Usually address having a city, let me record a city here. Then city, then of house number, city, then state. That also be there, but actually I missed there, that's it. State, because please go through the scenario, then you'll come to know that. Then district, then after this pin code. Then we left out with the one more attribute. What is that, guys? Phone number. But phone number is of what? Multi-valued attribute. So mapping of multi-valued attribute can be done in a different fashion. For timing, I'll hold this one. Which one? Let me map this one. We have hold it. Later we'll take up as a separate step. So there's a one more step for multi-valued attribute. For that we have to go with creating a new relation. Why? I'll tell you. Prior to that, let me go with constructing the diagrams, right? The attributes for other relations. What all, guys? Next, department. Department having these three attributes. Let me record what all? Department number, department name. Next what? Department location. Fine. Here what? Department number is a key attribute. Now here also department number becomes what? A key attribute. That's it. Next what? We are having a project. Their project number, project name and project location, where each project is identified based on what? Project number. So that I'll make this project number as a key attribute and I'll record rest of the attributes as it is. Key attribute. That's it. Next. Almost all strong or regular entity types we have mapped and we left out with only one thing. What is that? Phone number. So to map a phone number, it's a multi-valued attribute. There is one step. Could be, I'll discuss it in the step 6 of this algorithm. But for timing, I'll take up because you are having, you are very much interested, eager to know how to represent this multi-valued attribute here, right? Especially in the relational model. For that I'll give one small example, guys. This multi-valued attribute meaning is for an entity, that means an employee having multiple phone numbers. For one employee we'll record multiple phone numbers, employee ID 1, name some Raju. For that phone number I'll record some 9988676, then 8876 something. I'll record multiple 2-3 phone numbers for a single entity. So during the time, guys, suppose when I record this phone number here as a one more attribute, then what happens is I can record multiple, but the question is once if I say select star from employee then phone number, then it retrieves me all 3 phone numbers. But if I record it as a separate attribute, phone number 1, phone number 2, phone number 3, something like this, who knows, suppose if few employees might have only one phone number, during that time for rest of the 2 attributes column I need to fill a null values. Suppose if 100 employees we are having, they are having only one phone number, during that time 100 into 2, totally 200 null values we are going to enter. Definitely that becomes costly. Always we have to design in such a way that that relation model, that means our schema, database schema, we have to design in such a way that where it should have very less number of null values, right? Then only we'll call it by name. It's a good design, guys. To avoid the too many null values, it's also we have to keep it in our mind. So what else we can do? Definitely we cannot say what is the right number of phone numbers an employee is having in an organization. That we cannot predict, especially in case of this multi-valued attribute, right? So to avoid it, what best we can do is, suppose when I am having only one phone number during that time, so employee 1, 2, 3 something, he'll enter one phone number. Then suppose if he wants to enter one more phone number, I need to repeat a employee ID 1 I have entered. Again, if I have recorded a phone number as 999 something like this, and if I want to enter a one more phone number for a same employee, I want to repeat this one. But since we made this EMP-ID as a key attribute, I cannot repeat this one. Once if it doesn't permit me to repeat, then during that time what happens? I cannot record a multiple phone number. What solution we are having is record phone number 1, phone number 2, phone number 3. Suppose if this is our solution, then what happens? Solution could be okay. Suppose if an employee having only 3 phone numbers, suppose could be possibility that tomorrow we might have come up with some cell phones where we can have 10 SIMs I can insert there in the cell phone. During the time few employees might say, sir, I am having 10 phone numbers, what you will do? Or few might have, as what I said, the null values problem, right? So during the time it is very difficult to predict what is the exact number of phone numbers an employee is having, right? Or all employees might not have a equal number of phone numbers, right? So this is what a major problem we are having. That one is, if it is a single column, we cannot record multiple. If it is multiple columns, we don't know how many columns to have, right? So few might have 1 and few might have 5 phone numbers, few might have only 2, right? Those things, right? So to avoid, or we can say to represent, to solve this kind of a scenario, guys, especially with respect to multi-valued attribute, multiple values for an attribute column, when it is connected to a single entity, during that time it is always better to go with creating new relation, guys. Let me go with creating new relation. Fine, I have created. Then what are the things to have it? Actually we created this relation to have a phone number, to record the phone number, right? Let me first record the phone number here, phone number. Fine. Primary keys we cannot repeat. Actually this phone number belongs to whom then? It belongs to some employee. Then whether to record the whole thing, employee name, house number, city, everything? No. Based on employee name, we cannot identify uniquely each employee in a relation, right? That we have seen. Then in what fashion or which attribute become a right attribute to identify each employee in a relation? Employee ID, right? So for that, if I know the employee ID, then easily I can distinguish each employee, or I can say each employee can uniquely identify, right, in a relation. So for that, it is better to pick this employee ID. So based on this employee ID, this phone number belongs to which employee, that I want to represent. Each employee is identified based on EMP ID. So that I take this EMP ID and I record it as an. But if things are like this, I can write any employee IDs. For example, if I am having an employee ID from 1 to 10, then could be possibility that a person might enter 100 kind of an employee ID. Is it become a right employee ID, guys? No, because 100 kind of an employee is not at all present in a relation. Then how can I record 100 here? So it's an indication that I want to have an employee ID here, and those employee IDs must be present where, guys? In the employee relation. So for that, what is that, guys? We have to make use of a concept of referential integrity. That means we have to hold a referential integrity here, that constraint. It's an indication that the employee ID has whatever the employee IDs I'll record here, those IDs must be present in the employee relation. So for that, we have to make it as what? Always to achieve a referential integrity, it is better to go with what? Foreign keys. I have to say, this employee ID, hey Mr. Employee ID, you map or you refer to this EMP ID of employee. During this time, this EMP ID becomes a primary key in the employee table, and here this becomes what? A foreign key. Don't do this one, guys. Foreign keys don't underline. Only primary keys will underline. That's it. And we'll make use of this notation, this arrow mark. It's an indication that when it is referring this one, it's an indication that it's a foreign key. Once if it is a foreign key, what, guys? It takes only the attributes, only the values which are present in the primary key table column. Fine. Then one more what? The values which are present here, the values I can repeat as many times as I want. For example, employee ID 1, we are having this 1, I can repeat as many times as I want. If an employee 1 having 3 phone numbers, I'll record it thrice. If employee having only 2 phone numbers, I'll repeat it twice. That's it. Further followed by what? The corresponding phone numbers that I can record. That's it, simple. So we solved what? How to map a multi-valued attribute. First step we learned how to map regular entity type. For that, create new relation, record all attributes. If there are any composite attribute, record all simple attribute in separate attribute in a newly created relation. That's it. And to map a multi-valued attribute, create a new relation and give a name. Given any name. Let me go with giving a name. What is that? It is holding employee phone numbers. Let me record it as EMP phone. You can give any name, no issues. EMP phone, fine. An employee contact you can give. That's it. Next. Here, make use of a foreign key approach, right? So pick that employee table. That means this multi-valued attribute which is connected to this chain, that creates a new relation and make use of that key attribute as a foreign key, especially with a multi-valued attribute, right? For that, as what relation we have created, with that we have to make it as a foreign key. That's it, right? So it is a foreign key approach we call, right? That's it. Next, it's a regular entity type, composite, simple attribute, multi-valued attribute are all over. And we left out with one more entity type, guys. What is that? Local dependent. Dependent is of what type? It's a weak. It is also an entity type, but it is not a regular or a strong entity type. Instead, it is what? A weak entity type. Then now the question is how to represent a weak entity type in the relational model. To represent a weak entity type, guys, here again we will make use of what? Creating a new relation. The next step is third step. The first step is mapping of regular entity type. Second step is mapping of multi-valued attribute we have seen. Next step is mapping of weak entity type. To map a weak entity type, guys, go with creating a new relation. So the name of a relation, it is to represent dependents. So that let me go with calling it as dependents. Fine. What are the attributes? Record the attributes of the dependent entity type, weak entity type. That's it. What all? Dependent name, gender, address, age. Dependent name, gender, age, then address. We have recorded. But these dependents are identified based on what, guys? Based on employee table, employee entity type key attribute. So for that, when I say dependent name some ABC, if two ABCs if I have recorded, so then how can I identify, distinguish this ABC belongs to which employee? So it is connected to what? Employee. These dependents belongs to employee. Employee having dependent. One employee might have many dependents. It's an indication that if dependent attributes values if I have recorded continuously in employee table during the time, if one employee having multiple dependents, I cannot record all such dependent details here. Since employee ID we cannot repeat right here, since it's a primary key. To avoid it, what best we can do? Create new relation. Yes, we have created for dependent for weak entity type, but I want to identify these dependents belongs to which employee. So that what? We require an employee ID, because each employee is identified based on what? Employee ID. I'll take this employee ID here and I'll make it as what? A foreign key. That's it. So once if it is a foreign key, then I can repeat what? As many times as I want. Once if it permit me to record multiple times, I can show that multiple dependents belongs to an employee, right? Possible. And one more, since it's a foreign key, it is referring to this one. I cannot record any employee IDs which are not present in this one. I can record only things which are present only in the employee table relation, right? All employee IDs which are present in employee relation. That's it. Now, 3 steps we covered. What is that? Employee, dependent, that means all mapping of regular entity types, mapping of weak entity types, and mapping of multi-valued attributes. 3 steps are over. Is there any left out symbols here? Yes, we have left out with what? Plenty of relationship types. But few relationship types we solved, especially with respect to employee with dependent. What is that? Employee having dependents. Especially this identifying relationship type we have shown. One employee having many dependents. One employee having many dependents. Can I able to record dependent name here? Since it is not a key attribute, I cannot record there, right? That's what one thing. Even if I record, then it is difficult to identify, because each dependents are not identified based on dependent name, right? There could be some ambiguity here, right? And one more, when I record even the dependent name, since I cannot repeat employee ID, I cannot show that an employee can having what? Multiple dependents. It's an indication that where we are having a total participation with what? Maximum cardinality, that is n. When compared to 1, n is maximum, right? So for that, during this time, so what it indicates is, pick this employee ID of owner strong entity type and make it as a foreign key in the weak entity type relation, right? That's what we have created here, that we can show, right? Especially weak entity type, especially when we consider this one-to-many or a one-to-one cardinality. We'll take up cardinalities. Now mapping of cardinalities. Entity types are over. Now cardinalities. Mapping of relationship type means relationship type always contains what? Cardinalities, right? So now mapping of cardinality means mapping of relationship types. That's it. So what are the different types of cardinalities we are having? One-to-one, one-to-many. Then oppositely it becomes many to one, same concept I can make use. And the next one is many to many. Let me take up the first step, one to one. Do we have any one to one cardinality here? Yes. What is that, guys? Employee manages department is a one to one cardinality. It's an indication that one employee manages one department, and one department having only one manager, right? So that we have to show here. Now to show this, guys, so whether can I able to make use of, it's an indication that don't go for creating a new relation, not required, because one employee manages one department and one department having only one manager. Let me take up the key attribute of this employee. What is that? EMPID. And key attribute of department. What is that? Department number. This is the only two relations connected here. Fine. All departments having a manager. So for that I have shown it as what? A total participation from this end. So let me take up guys here partial, because all employees are not managers, but all department having managers. Suppose guys, when I record the department employee, employee ID, department number, always these cardinalities are mapped with the help of these key attributes. These key attributes plays a major role guys, especially in mapping these cardinalities. So first, what best we can do as an initial learner, what we can do is, first let me take up this department number fits here to show this employee is a manager. When I consider this department number here, then during the time where it becomes right or wrong, we'll trial run, we'll make it right. So one, when I say one is an employee, manager of some department number 100 that I can record. Then employee ID 2, because if I am having 10 departments and 10,000 employees, all 10,000 employee details are present here and 10 department details here. I am having how many managers then? Only 10 managers, since we are having what? One department, one manager. So only with respect to 10 entries, I will fill a value for a department number column. Then rest of the 990 entries, how much is that? 10,000 employees, right? Then rest of the 990 rows employees will fill what? Null values. So just to record 10 values, investing 9,990 null values, that becomes always costly, right? So what's the best thing guys? To avoid this costly with respect to the null values, too many null values problem, so what best we can do is, we'll try to fit each department having only one manager. So manager is also what? An employee, right? Manager also residing in the employee group, fine. There are only few employees are managers, so even that manager also having an employee ID, right? So for that, let me record this EMP ID, but it's a EMP ID of whom? To represent it as a manager, let me record it as MGR, manager employee ID. Like that I'll record. And these EMP IDs must be present in the employee list. So for that, I want to make it as what guys? Again, a foreign key. Yes. Since department number I cannot repeat, but in the earlier case there could be a possibility that I can repeat 100 twice, thrice. During the time the cardinality fails, we are saying one department having only one manager, but if department number, since it's a foreign key, can repeat, once if it repeats, what it indicates? A department might have what? Multiple managers. That we cannot show here, right? Our intention is to show what? One to one. So for that, since this department number doesn't repeat, since we made it as a primary key, definitely I cannot write 100 one more time. It is restricted because of this key attribute, department number as key attribute. So for that, there's a possibility that the department number always having only one manager. That's it. Now there's an easy idea to identify whether this key attribute to map a one-to-one, don't go for creating a new relation, make use of a cross-reference approach, or we called by name a foreign key approach. This we called by name foreign key approach. Make use of key attribute and primary key attribute of one relation as a foreign key in the other relation. But this also having a primary key, this also having a primary key. Which one to take? Whether to take this as a foreign key here or this as a foreign key here? This question we are having, guys. Right? So one way is with a trial and error we can do. But best approach is just look at the participation constraint, guys. That itself gives us an answer. What is that, Look at this one. All employees are not managers, so that partial participation. But from the department end, it's a total participation. It's an indication that every department having a manager, right? So for that, once if all entities are participating, then during that time, pick the key attributes of this relation of the partial participation end as a foreign key in the department relation. That's it. Look at this one. pick this EMP ID and make it as foreign key in the department. This is what the same thing we made. EMP ID we picked and we made it as what? Foreign key here. That's it. That means where we are having the total participation end, to that end make use of a foreign key, right? Pick the foreign key of other relation, right? Under relation, right? Participating relation, participating entity type. That's it here, right? Fine. Next, do we have any one to many? Further one to many? Yes, no, one to many. This is one to one, or is there any one to one? No. We are having what? One to many, guys. Let me go with recording or mapping one to many relation. So let me take up the first one, this one. Department belongs to, employee belongs to department. Many employees belongs to one department and one department having many employees. It's a many to one cardinality. Or from this end we can say department having employees one to many. During this time, what I can record here is all employees belongs to what? Any one of the departments, so that we have shown it as what? Total participation. And first, as a initial stage, what we can do is don't go for creating a relation, just go with as usual foreign key approach. Let me make this, it is connected with what? Department, again with the employee and department. Here I want to show which employee working on which department, right? That I want to represent here. And by keeping one thing in our mind, all employees belongs to one department, either any one of the department, then one department, each department having many employees. This we want to have it in our mind, especially during mapping. So let me go with this foreign key approach. Let me record this EMP ID here. Is it works? We'll check. Suppose if I record EMP ID as a foreign key here to show that this employee belongs to this department, something like this, then what happens? We are having 10,000 employees, we are having only 10 departments. We can record only how many, what maximum entries we can have in a department table. To represent, to record the 10 department details, I am having maximum of 10 tuples here. But we are having 10,000 employees. To record 10,000 employee, each employee ID belongs to which department, I need to record 10,000 employee IDs here, because each belongs to which department, that I want to show. Since when I say employee 1 belongs to 100, 2 also belongs to 100, can I represent here? No. Why? 100 I cannot repeat. So for that, this design doesn't suit. It's an indication that this EMP ID, making this EMP ID as a foreign key here, especially to represent this one to many cardinality, that doesn't suit properly for us, right? What's the best thing we can do? It's opposite. What is that? Pick this department number and make it as foreign key here. Let me record here department number, and this points to here. This is a foreign key here. During that time, what, guys? 10,000 employee entries. Since it's a foreign key, I can repeat as many times as I want. 100, I can repeat 100 any number of times I want, possible. So that if I repeat 100 many number of times, it's an indication that a department, what we are looking, a department can have many employees. Yes, since we are repeating, that means it's permitting us to repeat, since it is a foreign key, so that, what, guys, we have shown this one to many cardinality from this end, or many to one cardinality from this end. Fine. And one more, an employee always belongs to any one of the department, and all employees connected with any one of the department. Since employee IDs we are recording here, I cannot repeat employee ID, so that one employee always belongs to one department. But one department might have many employees. I can repeat 100, possible. So now, one thing you have to map it here. What is that? Department number points to where, guys? It's a foreign key, points to this department table. That's it, right? Fine. Next, do we have any one to many cardinality? Yes, we are having a one to many cardinality with department controls project. One department can controls what? Again, one more interesting thing we did here. Look at this one, guys. Whether to consider this attribute here or this key attribute here, this question we are having. Again we solved based on what? The participation constraint case. What is that? Where we are having earlier also, in the previous case also, what we did, where we are having a total participation, to that end, its opposite key attribute entity type key attribute, we made it as a foreign key here earlier. Employee manages department there, right? And that means the total participation end that guided us where to keep which attribute, that which key attribute, right? So here again we took this department number and we made it as a key attribute in the employee relations, as a foreign key in the employee relation, because we are having a total participation from this end. Look at this one, guys. Department number we made it as what? Foreign key here, since we are having a total participation from the employee. Fine, that's it. Total participation is a key. Where we are having a total participation, to that end make it as foreign key of its opposite end entity type key attribute. That's it. So next, let me move on to a next thing, one to many. Yes, between what? Department and a project. Then directly I can do, what is that, guys? Total participation here. Then what? First, wherever we are having one to one and one to many or a many to one, during that time don't go for creating a new relation. Instead go for what? Making use of a foreign key approach, right? So based on the foreign key approach, pick that key attribute and make it as a foreign key in the based on this participation constraint, right? So total participation, pick this key attribute and make it as a foreign key. Whether it works or not, we'll see it. One department can control many projects. So I'll pick this department number and I'll make this as a foreign key here. Project number, each project controlled by one department, but a department can controls many projects. One department controls many projects. Since department number I can repeat as many times as I want, and project number I cannot repeat. So for that, one project having only one department controlled by only one controlling department, but one department can control many projects. Since I can repeat this department number, right? That's it, guys. So again we did what? We picked this attribute and we assigned it to what? The total participation, and there we made it as foreign key. That's it. Next, do we have any one to many over, one to one over, one to many over, or many to one? Next, one to many here again. What's that? Employee supervisors. Oh, look at this one. This recursive relationship type. We are having same relation. Then which one to take? This attribute I took. Then where to record? Again to a same table. Yes, this is what the same thing we have to make it here. But this represents one end, it's a supervisor, in the other end, supervisee or non-supervisors, right? To make it, to represent it, make use of one more attribute as EMPID, but it is what? This represents a supervisor employee ID. Let me call it my name, supervisor EMPID. And again, this represents a foreign key, and this entry which should be present only in the employee table EMPID. But both belongs to employee table, then how to create? To create it, guys, we have to make use of, to make it as alter table command, when we go with creating this employee table, so to make this as foreign key of supervisor employee ID references employee of employee ID. When I write, we don't have an employee table, then how can I do? To achieve it, guys, go with what? Alter command. First, make the supervisor EMPID int as a normal attribute. Don't make it as a foreign key. Later, once after creation of employee table is over, then go with the alter command and assign the foreign key constraint to a supervisor employee ID. Because employee table now, once after its creation, it is existing, right? So that we can achieve. Fine. So I can record employee ID which are present here. Then where that employee himself is a supervisor, there I can fill a null values. For a foreign key, I can have a null value, guys. Possible. Null value is permitted, allowed. Even last one is, what is that? Mapping of many to many coordinality. To map this many to many coordinality, I guess for a coordinality mapping we are going to use one coordinate. Let me just pick a coordinate. Repeat one once again? No, since one I can. In a many to many, we are looking for employee ID also I want to repeat, and I want to repeat. The problem we are facing is here project number doesn't allow us to permit to repeat, and here what EMPID I want to repeat, but actually it is not permitting us to repeat. So both I want to repeat. If I want to repeat both, what is the solution? Go with what? Creating a new relation. We don't have any other option for us, right? So let me go with having what all the things, which employee working on which project. To identify employee, employee ID. Then to identify project, project number. Fine, that's it. What name I can give for this? Works on. Let me call it the name employee works on project. Works on. Yes, fine. And both should take a value only which are present where, guys? Only which are present in the project number here, this one. And one more, employee ID always if it is present in EMPID table, right? Only those values you should take. But along with that, we are having one more thing. What is that attribute? Number of hours per week worked by each employee and each project, which is connected with what? Works on relationship type. Works on, we have created new relation, and we want to show employee work on which project and how many hours. So for that, record this attribute as a one more attribute in the same newly created relation, number of hours per week, that you record here. That's it. Is there anything we left out here? Almost we considered not almost, everything be considered, right, in the relational model. This is a relational model, or we can call it by name conceptual schema, right? That's it. For this only we are going with creating a tables. That's it. We have first English like statement requirement scenario, that is mapped into what? ER model, and ER model is converted into a relational model. Now we learned an algorithm where it contains 7 steps, right? What are all? Of ER to relational mapping. First one, what we did? Mapping of regular entity type or strong entity type. Next one is, what is the solution? Create new relation and identify the suitable attributes, right? Connected attributes to that relation, right? Map it. Composite attribute, record each simple component as a separate attribute in a newly created relation, right? The relation is what we have created. Key attribute, underline it. That's it. Next, mapping of multi-valued attribute. For multi-valued attribute, create a new relation, right, with a foreign key, right, and where exactly that multi-valued attribute is present. That entity type key attribute to be used as a foreign key in the newly created relation. That's it. Next, third step is mapping of weak entity type. What is that? Go with creating a new relation and again make use of what? Foreign key, right? Primary key of its connected owner entity type, this EMP ID, right? We made it as a foreign key here, and two things, total participation, and second one is since it is a weak entity type, right? So both supports as to what? Create new relation, go with new relation and make use of a foreign key approach. That's it. Next, we went with what? Mapping of cardinalities. There we used the usage of the participation constraint, right? The first thing we learned, mapping of one-to-one. Mapping of one-to-one cardinality, again make use of foreign key approach, right? So where we are having a total participation, to that end, make use of that opposite end entity type key attribute as a foreign key here. We did, right? Next, mapping of one-to-many or many-to-one. How? Again a foreign key approach. Make use of, identify where exactly we are having a total participation, based on that record, identify the foreign keys, right, from its opposite end. That's it. Primary key attribute become a foreign key. That's it here. Where? In the opposite relation, where we are having a total participation. Then we learned the last one. What is that? Many-to-many cardinality. So how to represent? Always many-to-many cardinality requires both the key attributes of the participating entity types wants to repeat, right? So we need to repeat to our both in both the relation. I cannot achieve it with a foreign key approach, where it requires always to go with creating a new relation. Yes, based on that we have created and we have tested why it doesn't permits, right? What's the problem with that? That also we have discussed. Then after that we went with what? Creating a new relation, and we made we identified the attributes as the attributes which are connected to that many-to-many cardinality relationship type, right? So along with that, the key attributes of two participating entity types as foreign keys here, right? So that's it. So these are the few steps we discussed, and there could be possibility that guys in few ER diagrams we might have almost all in the ER diagram as what we considered here. This is the only thing. Even here also almost all relationship types here we are having are all binary relationship types. What is meant by binary relationship type? If two entity types are participating in a relationship type, then such relationship type we call by name binary relationship type, right? So there could be possibility that it might be ternary, or four entity types or three entity types, or that means more than two entity types could be participating in a relationship type. That means associated in a relationship type. During the time that we called by name NRI relationship type, where N represents the number of entity types are connected with that. So let me take up one small example related to that. Since we don't have such NRI relationship type in this diagram, so for that I'll take up one more small case to represent that the last step of what is that? The mapping of NRI relationship type. Let me consider guys, there's a project where that project requires some parts. We know that let's assume some vehicle project they are doing. There could be many such vehicle project, right? So there each project is identified based on project number, something like that, right? And project requires some parts, right? So there could be many parts, right? And each part is identified based on part number, right? Those things, part having a name, those things. Then after that each part was supplied by one of the supplier, and like that we are having many suppliers. A supplier can supply many parts, this one, and those parts can be used for projects. To represent this, suppose when I consider, instead of going with a binary relationship type, when I go with a ternary, that means a n-array relationship type, more than two entity types are connected to a relationship type, such kind of a thing, then how should be the ER diagram? Then how to map such n-array relationship type ER diagram into a relational model? Let's see, guys. What I said, there could be many projects, and each project we identified based on project number. I'll underline it, and project name we are having, and many other things. Let me record only 2 attributes for time being, and we are having many parts, right, which can be used, and each identified based on part ID, having a part name, and these parts are supplied by what? A supplier. Let me call by name supplier, and each supplier is identified based on supplier ID, having the supplier name uniquely identified based on supplier ID, so that I will make it as a key attribute. Fine, all three are having a key attribute, so that all are regular entity types. And I will build a relationship type between all three by connecting all three entity types. So now what? It's a n-array relationship type. Let me call it by name project uses parts. Parts are supplied by suppliers. That I can write, or you can give any name for this. This one, supply, like this. Supplier supplies parts for project. That also you can write. Supply. You can write anything, any meaningful thing. Supplier supply parts for the project. So one supplier supplies many parts, and one supplier supplies many part, and one part can be supplied by many suppliers. That also be there. Next, one part can be used in many project, and a project can use many parts. This also be there. From all the end, it could be, I can say it is a many to many, right? That I can say many to many, many to many, like that we can record. Many to many, many to many, like this. So this we call become what, guys? Many to many cardinality. That means, sorry, many to many cardinality we are having. Along with that, this relationship type we call by name n-array relationship type. Where n represents the number of participating entity types. How many entity types are participating? 3. It is an indication that when it is equal to 2, then we call by name binary. Then binary relationship type. When n is greater than 2, then during that time we call by name n-array relationship type. It could be ternary, right, or 4 entity types are participating, 3, 4, 5, like this, and so on. Then how to map this n-array relationship type into in the relational model? To map this, guys, since we are having many to many, so what is the best thing we'll do? For a many to many, always go with what? Creating a new relation. Prior to that, for all regular entity types, create a new relation. Let me go with creating for project. What are the attributes? Project number and project name. Project number and project name. Yes, where project number is what? A key attribute. Let me underline. What's the next one? We are having a part, where part number is a part ID, right? Part ID and part name. These two attributes we are having, where part ID is what? A key attribute. I'll underline it. Next, I'm having a supplier. Let me go with recording supplier. Where supplier ID and supplier name is name. Where supplier ID is a key attribute. I'll underline it. Fine. For all regular entity types, we have created a new relation. But for this many to many, especially with NRI kind, more than 2 entity types are participating. Even for that, go with what? Create a new relation. That's it. Let me call my name by creating a new relation in the name of what? Let me call my name supply something. This is supplier and this one is supply. So then what are the attributes we need to consider? We have to consider, actually here we are showing project uses parts supplied by some supplier, those things, right? Indirectly supplier also connected with this project, right? So for that, I'll make use of the key attributes from all the 3 participating entity types. That means from all these 3 newly created relations. What are that? Project number, part ID, supplier ID. Here project number, supplier ID, project number, part ID, supplier ID. Yes. Along with that, let's say, suppose guys, it's all over, then all 3 are foreign keys, where project number points to here and supplier ID points to this one and part ID points to this one. That's it, foreign keys we made. Let's assume guys, suppose if this NRI relationship type having some attributes attached to this. For example, supplier supplies some parts. How many quantities? That I want to record, quantity. Then during this time, for each project, how many quantities there it is associated, right? That I want to record. This project number uses this part ID supplied by this supplier of so and so quantity, that I want to record. To record it, this quantity plays a major role, where to record. Again, this also we want to connect to where? To this newly created relation with respect to this NRI relationship, right? So what is that? Quantity. So that I can record it here, possible. A project can make use of many parts, since all 3 I can repeat as many times as I want, right? Possible. And I can record a respective quantity there. That's all guys. From this we learned the last 7th step. What is that? Mapping of NRI relationship type, right? How to map it. What is that? Go with creating a new relation and make use of all participating entity types key attribute as a foreign keys here. And along with that, if any attributes which is connected to a NRI relationship type, that also you record it as an attribute of that newly created relation for a NRI relationship type, right? That's it guys. Thank you. Thanks for your patience listening.